Title of the first section today is Finding the Vertex. Axis symmetry. And graph. Few formulas and definitions for this section. The vertex, again, is the point where the graph turns around. The equation for that, x equals negative b over 2a. And we'll use the equation ax squared plus bx plus c. So a would be the number in front of x squared, b is the number in front of x, and c is the last number. To find what y is, we will solve. Once we find x, we can plug it in and solve for y. Second definition, the axis symmetry. Axis symmetry will be the same as the vertex. X equals negative b over 2a. Symmetry means one side of the graph will be the same as the other side. And the line that cuts it in half would be negative b over 2a. And the last definition for this section, the parabola will open up if a is greater than 0, and the parabola open down if a is less than 0. So if a is a positive number, the parabola opens up. If a is a negative number, then the parabola opens down. First question we'll solve. Y equals 2x squared plus 4x minus 5. To find the vertex, again we'll use the equation negative b over 2a. A is the number in front of x squared, b is the number in front of x, and c we'll get to in a little bit is negative 5, the last number. So negative b, middle number is 4, which would be negative 4. 2 times a is the first number, which is 2, so 2 times 2. 2 times 2 would be 4, 4 divided by 4 would be 1, and having negative on there, so it's negative 1. This is what x is equal to for the vertex. To find out what y is equal to, we have to solve or take this number and plug it back into the equation. So y equals, plug a negative 1 into the x squared. Negative 1 squared would be positive 1, times 2 would be 2. Negative 1 for the x, 4 times negative 1, that would be negative 4. And minus 5 would stay the same. 2 plus a negative 4 is the same as 2 minus 4, that would be negative 2. And negative 2 minus 5 would be negative 7, which is what y is equal to. So our vertex, x equals negative 1, y equals negative 7. We can write that as a point, negative 1, comma, negative 7. The axis of symmetry, again, is the same equation. But it is just the x value, so it's just negative 1. And this parabola either opens up or down. Looking back at the equation, we have a positive 2x squared. If the x squared is positive, then this graph opens up. Last part will be to graph. If we have a vertex, negative 1, negative 7. Negative 1 would be the x value. Negative 7 would be the y value. The axis of symmetry, we'll draw a dashed line straight down through the vertex. This cuts the graph in half, so one side looks exactly the same as the other. And this parabola opens up, which means it'll start at the top, curve down to the vertex, and then the curve on the right side looks the same. Try one more of these. Last question for the section. F of x is negative x squared plus 4x minus 4. Again, find the vertex. The equation negative b over 2a. In this case, b is positive 4, but negative b makes it a negative 4. And 2 times a is a number in front of x squared. In this case, it's negative 1, so 2 times negative 1. So we'll have negative 4 over negative 2, which is equal to positive 2. And negative b over 2a is what x equals, so x equals 2. Find the y value. Y again is the same as f of x. We'll take the 2, plug it in for x, and solve for y. In this case, we'll plug a 2 in, do the exponents, and then we'll make the answer negative. So 2 squared would be 4. That minus makes it a negative 4. 2 times 4 would be 8, and minus 4 stays the same. Negative 4 plus 8 would be positive 4, and subtracting the 4 on the end would be 0. Again, that's the y value, so y is equal to 0. Our vertex, again, we can make a point. X is equal to 2, y is equal to 0, so our vertex would be 2, 0. The axis of symmetry, again, makes the line or graph symmetrical. It's the same value as the vertex. In this case, it's 2, but it's just the x value, x equals 2. And the graph can either open up or down. Looking back at the equation, if it's a negative x squared, negative values are less than 0, so this graph will open down. Graphing from here, we can draw the xy axis. The vertex is 2, 0. The x value would be 2. The y value would be 0. The axis of symmetry, again, is a dashed line. It goes down the middle of the graph. This graph opens down, so rather than a curve that opens up, the curve will open upside down. And that'll be our graph for the equation. Last section today is titled More Graphing. First equation is y equals 2x squared plus 4. Same steps as before. We'll do the equation negative b over 2a, find the vertex, and then we'll graph. B again is the middle number in front of the x. There is no x in the middle here, so b is equal to 0 over 2 times a, which would be 2 times 2. 0 over 4 would be 0, which would be our x value. Find the y value, we'll plug 0 in. 0 squared would be 0, times 2 would still be 0. Adding 4 to that, our y value would be 4. So for this question, our vertex, make it a point. X is 0, y is 4. That would be 0, 4. The axis of symmetry, again, is the same as the vertex, just the x value though, not the y value. X is 0, so our axis of symmetry is x equals 0. And the direction either opens up or down. Looking back at the equation, positive 2x squared. If it's positive, the parabola opens up. Graphing this question, we have a vertex of 0, 4. 0 would be in the middle, and we can go up 4 spots. The axis of symmetry is right down through the vertex, a dashed line, this time on top of the y-axis. And the direction's up, so we'll have a parabola that curves through the vertex and opens up. Last question for this section. F of x equals negative 3 x squared plus 6x plus 5. Again, we'll do the same equation, negative b over 2a, to find the vertex. B in this case is a number in front of x, which is 6. The negative makes it negative 6. And 2 times a is the first number, which would be negative 3. We'll have negative 6 over negative 6, which is equal to 1. So the x value of the vertex is equal to 1. Plugging the 1 into the equation. 1 squared would be 1. Negative 3 would stay the same. 6 times 1, 6 would stay the same. And plus 5. Negative 3 plus 6 would be 3. Plus 5 more would be 8. So our vertex for this question would be 1, 8. Graphing. We can do our axis of symmetry. Is x equals 1, and the direction also before we graph, we have a negative 3x squared, so this graph opens down. Our vertex 1, 8. Axis of symmetry goes down the middle, and this parabola opens down, so we'll have a U shape that opens downward. And that would be the graph for the equation.